So it's the middle of February, the full moon is approaching, and rather than go to your typical UK day ticket lake, UK runs water, we wanted to aim a little bit higher. Now Scott has got some very good contacts in France with the CarpFix guys, Nicole and Olivier, and their lake Trois Iles is one of the best commercial carp fisheries in France. There are 3 fish over 80 pounds here, numerous 70 pounders, numerous 60 pounders, and loads of 50 pounders. You know, it's not going to be easy. The lake is 60 to 70 acres in size. There are 800-ish carp present, but at the same time, nobody is booked on this entire lake. And there's good reason for that. Obviously, February is not the best time to go carp fishing. But at the same time, there's a lot of carp in the lake, a lot of big carp in the lake. And with a very, very good weather system pushing in, we know we've got weather, with temperatures reaching up to 14 degrees centigrade. We've got the full moon approaching, you know, and there is always a chance that something very, very special could happen. So here we are. Welcome to Trois Iles.
Whose is that drone shot, mate? Whose is that drone shot?
It's mine, mate, it's mine now.
That's nice, isn't it? That's a nice drone shot. Ooh. Anticipation. Where are we going to go first?
I've done too much caffeine, I'm literally on the edge.
Where are we going to go first? Side.
Should we drive round to 10, because then we can walk round, we can stop at 15 on the way.
Yeah.
Or 16, sorry.
Yeah.
And then we can, and then we can walk from 10 round to 4.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh mate, this is good.
So this is the other lake.
It feels good. But even the cormorants didn't know we were coming.
Hurry swim.
This one?
Yeah.
Right, let's have a little jump out here then. Get my coat and my boots on.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't need my boots, it's not.
Well, yeah, it's alright. It's only when you walk around that back bit, it might be muddy.
Right.
So it's probably worth just getting them.
Looks mega. I like the fact there's no bivvies in any swims. We couldn't have timed it any better. You know, massive mild spell starting today, the entire week, full moon incoming. Prime, absolutely prime. So Peck 10, this is the swim that Johnny Mann caught the 90 pounder from, and Neil Spoons on Monster Carp caught numerous 60s and a 70 pound common. I don't know if it's just those captures that make me or draw me to this part of the lake, but I don't know, there's definitely something alluring about this area. You know, it's a little bit deeper in this part of the lake than other parts, and having I fancy this area definitely something about it that's got my interest. But also swim, I think it's swim 16 up there, sort of it seems like the closest area to the Bermuda Triangle that they talk about between the islands. There's an area out there that you can't reach, and anywhere that can't be accessed is obviously like a magnet to fish. So that's one area between the islands, and I think that swim accesses it best from what I've seen so far. But I don't know, it's like there's not a lot of angling pressure out here, so why would they feel the need to sit out there at this time of year, or not? You know, I don't know the lake, I don't know very much about it at all, but one thing that I've noticed is the water is much clearer than I thought. A lot of the times on these sort of commercial lakes in France, the water's very murky, and I always feel like the fish have to find your bait by sort of smell and scent. Whereas in here, in this clarity, they're definitely going to visually be able to see the bait, which is a good thing. I like the idea of the fish being able to see the bait, so that's a positive. The only worrying thing, the most worrying thing, is that nobody else has felt the need to come, which is a little bit worrying. You know, you've got a lake that's full of 50-pounders, loads of 60-pounders in here, 70s and 80s, and nobody's here. What do they know that I don't? You know, that's slightly worrying, but I don't want that to take the edge. You know, we've come here because it's good weather in the run up to the full moon, got free run, can go wherever we like, and if I blank, I'm going to go down fighting. Oh, call the police! That was absolutely criminal. So here we are, first ever trip to Trois Iles. The lake isn't quite as big as I'd imagined. It's 60 to 70 acres, but on arrival, the first thing that struck me is it didn't seem as open and as windswept as I had imagined, and I'm thankful for that. After the last session at Burners, you know, had a really good hit there. We're thinking where we could go next. And coming here, you know, hearing that there's no one on the lake, you know, the first little, that's really motivating. There's no one on the lake, fish where you want, I'll be able to move around and find some fish. But obviously on arrival, now I'm here, you know, the reality of the situation is setting in. You know, we are in the midst of winter, but in unseasonably good weather, very good conditions for the time of year. It's been cold up until today, like the last night, overnight, it was like -degrees. But from today, it's going to be every single day during our session here, it's going to be 10 degrees or more. There's a few days of 13 degrees, a few days of 14 degrees. On a couple of nights, it's staying around 8 to 10 degrees, you know, so really good fishing conditions for this time of year. As always, the single most important thing about carp fishing at any time of year is always location. We say it time and time again, but in the winter it is never more so important. And the reason for that is, you know, in the summer when the fish are buzzing around the lake or moving around, swimming around, they're using energy, number one, and then to replace that energy to, you know, by eating. But also they're more likely to encounter the bait that you put in the lake. If the fish is moving around and you position your bait in a good area, then the fish have the opportunity to come across it. But at this time of year, the fish are not swimming around as readily. So without knowing concrete, or having factual information where the fish are, that is a problem, especially with the lack of knowledge that I've got of this venue. I've done a bit of homework, you know, I've watched, in preparation for this session, I watched the 2 thinking tackles on YouTube that Corda have filmed here, and I watched the monster carp that Ali, Neil and Dovey filmed here. So that's pretty much the basis of the information I have, you know, those 2 YouTube films and the monster carp. The wind's going to be blowing off the back of this swim for the duration, and I've had a quite meticulous plumb round really. You know, you could say I've bombed it to death, but I wanted to interrogate the swim, get a rough idea of what's out there. I've got 2 different spots. One's got 1 rod on it, one's got 2 rods on it. The left-hand rod is fished at 28¼ wraps, and that's on like a gravel lump. It's like a smallish mound of quite coarse gravel in places. When you're right on the top of it, you know, the stones feel quite coarse, but I'm sort of just on the edge of this small mound of gravel where the gravel feels a little bit finer. It's still quite bumpy. I'm fishing a stiff hinge rig with a pink pop-up with a dozen spoms of hemp and 15mm fibre boilies, and the right hand rod and the middle rod are fished on a different spot, which is 26 wraps out towards the tip of the island and fractionally left. There's a massive barren area of, there's 2 bars out there, but behind these 2 bars the gravel's very fine. It's almost silty. It's like smooth, sandy, sort of just with a few taps of gravel. It's hard, so the lead's like getting a good drop, not plugging, but it's not a exposed gravel lump like the left-hand rod is. Again, I've baited that with 12 spoms of hemp and 15mm fibre boilies. And if I'm honest, it's been a rush. You know, we've driven over from the UK. I left home this morning at 3 o'clock to go and pick Scott up. We've driven 3.5 hours through France to get here, walked around, looked at the swims, plumbed, cast out, spomming into dark. You know, it's the day's gone. You know, it didn't feel like 10 minutes ago I was getting out of my bed. For now, 3 rods fishing. It's been a long day. Fingers crossed for the night ahead.